11th series of our lecture that we usually have everyone. And today happens to be 11th of August. So I find it interesting and iconic. And I believe that we're going to have a very wonderful time today. We have our guest lecturer in the house, is in the room already. And then we have a host of honorable men and special people here tonight. So I'm welcoming us specially for tonight's edition of the alumni lecture. The previous ones have been very wonderful and we've learned a lot from them. And there's been so many testimonies, so many good words from those lectures. We've had so many exciting times. So tonight is not going to be an exception. It's going to be very engaging. And we'll be talking about demystifying capabilities and potentials of solar PV for Nigerian industrial and commercial users. It is no longer news that the current energy landscape, portfolio in the country is not economically sustainable. So tonight we're going to be learning about the solar PV that people are adopting now. Domestic homes are adopting it. People are using solar panel. They're powering their houses with solar. And now we want to check what the viability would be for a commercial scale and for the industry. All right. So we still have people joining us. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for joining. I want to acknowledge the presence of some special people here tonight. All right, I want to welcome the chairman for this tonight's lecture. That's the person of Engineer Dr. A.C. Olaoye. Engineer Dr. A.C. Olaoye. I'm not sure if he's here yet. I'm not sure if he's here yet. Then I'm going to move to the special guest of honor in person of Professor A.O. Olorunnishola, FNSC. Professor A.O. Olorunnishola, FNSC. That's VC of Dominion University, Ibadan. Welcome, sir. I can see him in the house. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. I also want to welcome the guest of honor. The guest of honor tonight is Professor S.A. Jegede. That's the director of RMO UI. Welcome, sir. I'm not sure if he's in the house. Professor S.A. Jegede. Welcome, sir. I'll be moving to our guest lecturer tonight is in the house. That is in person of Dr. Adewale Adesonya. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. I'm sorry about the light. Also, our host for tonight.
Thank you.
I'm going to be, thank you, sir. I'm going to be recognizing our host for tonight in person of Professor V.O. Oladokun. Professor V.O. Oladokun, that is the HOD of Industrial and Production Engineering, University of Ibadan. Thank you so much for coming. I also want to appreciate the presence of some key persons in our midst, Professor Oluleye, Dr. Kolawole, and a host of other people that cannot start mentioning one by one. Thank you so much for coming. Right about now, we should be having the chairman's opening remark, but we are presently not having him in-house. That's in person of Engineer Dr. A.C. Olaoye. So I'm just going to move on to the special guest of honors Goodswill message. Special guest of honor Goodswill message, that is in person of Professor A.O. Olorunnishola, FNSC. That's the VC of Dominion University, Ibadan. Sir, you have the floor, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, if I may so call you. First, let me say thank you to the Department of Industrial Engineering for inviting me to this special program. I congratulate the department for a good job being done, especially in connecting with the Alumni Association. If I'm not mistaken, that is the department that has done so much connecting with the alumni. And I think they are doing a lot of good work that other departments can emulate, including my department, my primary department in UI. Let me say that I'm not exactly a visitor to industrial and production engineering. First, when I was running my master's program over 30 years ago, between 1991 and 1992, I took not less than 6 courses in industrial engineering, as it was then called, at the master's degree level. And even thereafter, 2 of my children, one has already graduated department, the other one is about graduating. So I can say I belong to the industrial and production engineering family, and it's always a pleasure associating with that department. I've also, over the years, assisted in teaching some courses as associate lecturer. So I commend the department, and I'm extremely proud of Professor Ladoku, of the initiatives that he always brings on board anytime he has the opportunity to head any section of the university. I know he has been head of department before in industrial engineering, and we know the good job that he did. He was in the business school. He also did some good work. And I'm happy that he's back in the Department of Industrial and Production Engineering as head of department. I'm sure that his tenure will be noted for very positive development. So having said that, I was wondering why I was invited to be a special guest at this occasion. Now, President Landoko is living not too far from my house on campus. So maybe it's because he has seen the solar panels on top of my roof. Maybe that's why he thinks that it's important for me to be part of this conversation. As we speak now, there's no electricity on UI campus, and the light that is on in my house actually from my solar inverter installation. I am a fan, if I may so speak, of solar installation systems. I've been using solar inverters in my home on campus since 2007, where I was before on campus and where I am right now. So, and I can say that it saves a lot of cost. I had a hybrid system whereby I could charge my batteries when electricity was off, and then I could use the solar panels when the sun is up. But some 2 years ago, I just changed my mind. I bought more panels and I moved off the national grid, charging my batteries, because I believe that would be more cost saving. I had more panels, and so it's easier to charge the batteries that I have. So I have direct experience with solar panel installations and then inverter systems. Since the topic of today talks about demystifying, it means that there are some myths, some beliefs that may not exactly be true about solar panels and solar PV installations. I'm not the lecturer, so I'm not going to begin to talk about what the myths are. But I'm aware that a lot of people believe that it can be expensive. When people believe that it occupies a lot of space, some even believe that it is expensive to maintain, and so on and so forth. But like I said, I'm not the guest speaker, so I'll leave the speaker to his job to educate us about what the myths are and what the actual facts are. Because most times myths are opposite of facts. There are things that people believe that are not actually correct. And it's important that we demystify this most important renewable energy resource, more so that the cost of energy is going up in Nigeria today. Energy for transportation, energy for home, industrial use, and so on. So there's a need for us to begin to tap into the alternatives that are available to us, much more so that we now have serious problems with climate change and global warming. Across the globe now, we see all kinds of unexpected, so to speak, weather events. We have had floodings in different parts of the US, in Netherlands, all across Europe and Americas. And recently we have been having challenges. We have been seeing evidence of fire, extreme temperatures in Europe, in Americas, and so on. These are all products of climate change associated with the CO2 emissions that are also linked to fossil fuel combustion. So indeed, we need to move to the renewables. Well, incidentally too, renewable energies is one of the areas of my research interest. And so I'm particularly interested in the topic of tonight. And I would like to know more about how Nigeria can tap into the immense potentials of solar energy that we have. We know that in places like Sokoto and Maiduguri, the solar installation is high, and then they have the sunshine hours that can be up to even 11 or 12 hours a day. I think these are potentials that we are not tapping. Even though we have a Center for Energy Research there in Sokoto and one in Enugu, I'm not sure they have done enough to create the kind of awareness that Nigerians ought to have about renewable energy resources that we have in Nigeria and tapping into them. Having said all this, I think I don't want to take too much of your time and I don't want to bore you. Once again, I thank you for inviting me to this occasion and I look forward to enjoying myself and I wish all of us a wonderful time this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Ibe Olorunishola. That's the VC Dominion University. Pardon. Thank you for the good swim message. Thank you so much for that. While he was speaking, we had in the house our chairman for today. He came in, and that's in person of Engineer Dr. A.C. Olaoye. He's also the chairman of NSC, Nigeria Society of Engineers, Ibadan chapter. Sir, you're welcome, sir. Would love to have the chairman's opening remark right about now, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Good evening to everybody. I want to thank you for this privilege. I welcome everybody once again to this great program. I count myself very privileged to have been invited as chairman when all my profs are there. But I thank you, Sha. Anyway, I really appreciate you for the privilege and thank you for that which you are bringing up at this point in time. It's quite very interesting, at such a time as this in our nation, Nigeria, where much has been said about renewable energy, but not much has been done in that regard. We are not also meeting up with our power requirements. We are continually having ups and downs in terms of generation, transmission, and then distribution. Sometimes I wonder who is wrong among the three of them, or who should even be lifted up among the three of them. But I've discovered that all of them need help. But at the same time, even though in terms of economy, the national grid power is much more economical. But you see, we are in a nation where today an average Nigerian an average Nigerian home or person has become a government of his own. Provides his own water, provides his own power, provides his own security, provides virtually every other thing for himself. Some of the things that the government is really meant to provide, but nevertheless, life must go on, and we must continue. And like my prof said earlier, I'm also very optimistic, demystifying. I'll also love to learn and hear from the speaker on new things. And I want to encourage all of us. This is a body of engineers. I think we have a lot work to do. Let us not be discouraged. Fine, we know there are so many challenges affecting us as engineers. in terms of our practice, in terms of recognition, in terms of a number of things. We even have it that we are not enjoying, we have not been given a pride of place in the nation, and we're not enjoying, we're not enjoying the practice as we should. But nonetheless, efforts are still being put in to put these things behind us, and at the same time, to help us to have a great practice and very interesting practice as engineers in Nigeria. I just want to encourage all of us not to be deterred, not to be discouraged. Let's come together as one to put our intelligence together. To solve the challenges, to overcome the challenges that the nation is having. I must say at this point in time, as a roundup, that for me, the challenges of this nation, as far as technological advancement, technological growth is concerned, lies in the solution lies with the engineers. We are very important to the scheme of things in Nigeria. We are very vital. We cannot, that cannot be overemphasized. And at the same time, let us come together united in our number and to provide solutions to some of these challenges. I sure do know that the government is getting to a stage where, whether they like it or they like it, they will reckon with the engineers, because the challenges are not really going down. But I trust that we are able and we can surmount them. Once again, I want to welcome everybody, and I trust that we're going to have a wonderful time. I appreciate Professor Olon Nishola, a special guest of honor for today. And I'm sorry again for joining a little bit late. I've been in a meeting, and I trust I just rounded it up, and then so that I could easily join this program. So thank you so very much once again. And I wish all of us a wonderful time. I trust it's going to be a refreshing time. We're going to learn a lot of things. I hope the moderator will make it also interesting and interacting after the guest speaker would have spoken, so that there will be opportunities for people to interact or to ask questions and even make comments. And I trust that we will have a very wonderful time together. Thank you so very much once again. I appreciate it. God bless you all. Thank you
so much, Engineer Dr. Adekunle Olaoye, our chairman for tonight. Thank you for the remarks. Thank you so much. So because we are pressed for time, so I'll be going to the next item on the list, which is the guest of honor's goodwill message. That is Professor S.A. Jegede. That's the Director of Research Management Office, University of Ibadan. Sir, see him? Yes, see him. You're welcome, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Everyone. First, let me thank the organizers for inviting me to be a guest of honor at this important lecture. And let me greet Professor Olorun Nishola, not stay for some time. Good evening, sir. I hope you are enjoying your new place. Let me say that initially when I received the invitation to be at this meeting, I was wondering, I'm not an engineer, I'm a sociologist. But I then concluded that, that might be because of my position as a Director of Research Management. But that notwithstanding, I think the topic is very, very important and central to humanity. I look at the Nigeria of yesterday and today. We've all been hoping for a better society. But as of today, the complaint about energy has been more than what it used to be some years ago. That shows that there's need to come up with new ideas and new knowledge about how to address this issue. God, in his own wisdom, going by the biblical accounts, did not forget to address this issue. In fact, it was the first thing on his, on the history of creation, because the other things created definitely need energy. If we look at our society, a major factor in the growth of poverty around us is this issue of energy. And no society will develop without it. We've talked and talked over the years about improving the electricity system we have, but it seems that things are terribly slow, which has brought us to the stage that we are today. And the recent development in the early, about 2 to 3 months now, in the history of this nation, Nigerians have had a terrible experience. Those that are used to alternative source, generator, and things like that have been very difficult because of the removal of subsidy. And today, the poor people on the street who relies on this energy to power their small-scale businesses, like those running grinding machine and things like that, find it difficult to make headway because of the cost of energy. And therefore, it becomes important to ask ourselves, what next should we do? And that is why I commend the Department of Production Engineering on this initiative. There is no doubt that by the time we begin to assemble ourselves and raising questions and providing answers, definitely sometimes our voices will be heard and ideas will be used. And that is the essence of research. More research is needed, according to the experts that have spoken earlier than myself in this area, in order to make this source of energy to be more accessible and affordable. And with that, we then be able to develop business strategies that can alleviate the level of poverty that is already beyond the acceptable level in the country. And when this happens, then we can hope and we can even be sure of a better society where orderliness at the family level, at the community level, at the religious level, and at every aspect of society will be positively affected. So I want to congratulate the department for putting this program together. It's not just to, make a kind of academic discourse, but it's a subject that will definitely benefit humanity. So once again, thank you very much for inviting me to this program. I will listen attentively, I will learn, and this will also help us in the direction to guide our thoughts in terms of making people or advising people or guiding people in the necessary areas to address when calls for proposals come around us, and make good use of the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our guest of honor for today, Professor S.A. Jegede, thank you so much for the good swim message. Okay, right about now, we'll be moving to the next item on the list, which is the citation of the guest speaker. The citation of the guest speaker will be read by Dotun Kasim. Okay. You're welcome, Dotun.
Good evening. Yes, so thank you, Claudius. All protocols. All protocols duly observed. So I'll be reading the citation for our guest speaker this evening. He'll be speaking on topic demystifying capabilities and potentials of solar PV for Nigerian industrial and commercial users. Sorry, I'm trying to get something off my screen. Thank you. Dr. Adewale Adesanya is the founder / CEO of Heaven Energy Consulting Incorporated, a firm that has been providing technical and research support for various states on net zero planning, such as New York State's Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act goals, including decarbonization pathways and electrification modeling, integration analysis on just transition, energy, and climate equity, as well as benefits and cost analysis. In one of his current projects, Dr. Adesanya is leveraging his experience on transition pathways to 100% renewable electricity in northern regions, identify and prepare workforce for a just net zero transition in the Upper Peninsula of the state, Michigan. Dr. Adesanya's expertise spans energy systems modeling, community energy projects planning, just transition, state and citywide decarbonization pathways analysis, energy policy development, and climate advocacy. He has about 2 decades of experience across the globe, including in the United States, Germany, Scotland, Uganda, Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, and Tuvalu in oil and gas, renewable energy, and production industries across private, public service, and regulatory sectors. Dr. Adesanya is an associate member of the US Environmental Entrepreneurs, E2, or E-Square, baby. Dr. Adesanya engages in speaking at various forums on climate change and energy solutions, especially at the United Nations COP25 in Paris, Spain. His work on clean energy transition has been widely recognized with many awards, one of them being the prestigious 40 Under 40 of the US Energy News Network for the year 2020. He has also been recognized as a leader for Michigan Clean Energy Leaders (MCEL) projects, and he is currently a member of the board of directors of Green Home Institute (GHI). Dr. Adesanya received a PhD degree in environmental and energy policy from Michigan Technological University, where he worked extensively on transdisciplinary analysis of just transition pathways to 100% renewable electricity in the US. He holds a Master of Engineering degree in Energy and Environmental Management from Europa Universität Flensburg, Germany, and a Bachelor of Science degree in Industrial and Production Engineering at the University of Ibadan, Nigeria. He is also a former ISA president, that's the Industrial Engineering Students Association president, and currently the publicity secretary of IPEAA. Everyone, please join me as I welcome our guest speaker for tonight, Dr. Adewale Adesanya.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction and citation. Can you hear me clearly? Can
Yes,
everyone
sir.
hear me clearly?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
yeah, great.
I hear you.
All right.
Yes, we
Thank
can,
you.
sir.
Thank you so much. And I'm so glad to be here again. I've attended a couple of our lecture series, but it's an honor for me to be here again. But before I go, I want to say excellent evening to those in Nigeria, and excellent day to everyone across the globe, because I understand that this is the alumni is global in nature. We have everyone across the globe joining in to plugging in into this lecture series. So starting from our distinguished special guest of honor, Professor Olorunishola, the guest of honor, Professor Jegede, the chairman, Dr. Olaoye, and our amiable HOD, Professor Oladokun. Ladies and gentlemen, so let me just duly observe all protocol. So permit me to express my gratitude to the organizers of this lecture series, including the Alumni Association engagement team and all the staff of IPE. So I'll continue to use IPE, but for those that don't know the acronyms, it is Industrial and Production Engineering is the department that is a host to this, which I am privileged to be an alumnus. For this unique initiative to advance knowledge and best practices to steer our world in the right direction, which is very needed at this point globally, and then especially in Nigeria. So I really feel highly honored to be given this opportunity to deliver today's lecture, which is of course the 11th in the series, as has been mentioned, and then to present this to our great IP alumni community, as well as others that are in attendance. Also, I'm very excited. I couldn't keep my excitement when I heard Professor Olorunishola's personal experience about powering his residents with solar. I say, thank you, sir. That is way to go. And then, keep enjoying the benefit, and keep supporting, decarbonization efforts. So it is definitely a confirmation, of gradual adoption of the technology in Nigeria compared to what we have, a few years back. So, but today, I shall be speaking on the topic. Okay, I think I need to share my screen so that just a moment, I will be there. I have a slide to share. 1 minute, and I'll be there. Okay. All right. I believe you can all see my slides. I want to believe that. Can you see my slides?
Yes, we can. We can.
Yes,
Okay.
you can.
All right.
Yes, please. Yes, we can.
All right. Okay. So, like I said, I shall be speaking on the topic demystifying, capabilities and potentials of solar PV for the Nigerian industrial and commercial sector use. And then, why is this topic so important? Why are we entertaining another, energy topic for the third time in just 11, lecture series when we could channel this to, other topics? Because if you can recall, for those that have been attending in the past, the past series, you will remember that there has been 2 previous lectures on energy given by our wonderful alumni, engineer Ade Gorioye and Dr. Agumbiade, which I was privileged to attend. So, but the question is, why are we bringing energy up again, as if we don't have any other topic to discuss? But the reason is not far-fetched, like everyone has alluded to, the chairman and all of those that have spoken before me, because we are fully aware, of the old and current energy predicaments in Nigeria, and would all agree with me that there is so much concern about the current socioeconomic situation in Nigeria, especially as the economy continues to plummet and then becoming more challenging to everyone, including the corporate, businesses, the manufacturers, the industrial operations, and across different scales, small, medium, and large scale. So central to this enormous or numerous challenges that the country is facing is the crippling effect of energy crisis on many businesses, including unprecedented increase in fuel prices, especially petrol and diesel, which are the main source of power supply for most commercial and industrial outfits in Nigeria. So if I would be fair on Nigeria, to be candid, this is not only unique. Talking about energy crisis, I would like to point out that the trend of price increase, fuel price increase is global. For instance, in the United States, price per gallon of gas, which we call petrol in Nigeria, has risen, by almost 300% in the last 5 years. I could remember, just a couple of years ago, where I was buying per gallon for about $1.5. And right now it's, we are seeing, pump prices of over $4. And at some point we had, when the war of Ukraine and Russia was very, intense, we had it, jacked up to almost $5, 5 point something dollars. So globally, we are experiencing a lot of challenges, and then, but the situation is, comparable to what we have in Nigeria. However, the case of Nigeria is, different. The experience is different in that petroleum prices will continue to go up and always defy the law of gravity, at least not until when there is a paradigm shift from the usual dependence and demand for petroleum products to a more sustainable energy resources. So fortunately, there are numerous innovative solutions out there, from the renewable energy alternatives, and then zooming in on solar photovoltaic technology, which we'll be using as PV hereafter. So why solar PV adoption is slowly, gaining traction in residential deployments in Nigeria, to be candid and to be specific. The same cannot be said of industries who even have more energy intensity, in their operations to keep our economy, growing. There have been many questions from various colleagues, which I have had the opportunity to interact with in the engineering community, who manages and directs industrial and commercial facilities, And those questions have been whether solar can adequately meet the demand of their companies or organization beyond the residential deployment. And my interaction with them actually allowed me to understand some misconceptions and myths, as we'll call it, surrounding this issue. So, but quickly, what is the agenda for this today's discussion? We'll be looking briefly, kicking it off with benefit of solar PV for the private industry, and then we'll look at some four myths, like Professor Olarunishola was saying, and one other person, I think Professor Jegede, that there are some other myths that we could talk about. We'll talk about cost and different. It's enormous out there, especially that this is common for when technology is just reaching the market. You have different things that people are saying different things, but today we want to focus on four of the myths that are out there on solar PV, especially for the private users, private sector users, industries. We'll look at feasibility, we'll look at viability, capability, and the last one is applicability. And then we'll conclude and then entertain some discussion, because interestingly, we have a lot of people with experience in the renewable energy sector here, and then we can all discuss and contribute to this interesting topic. I believe it's interesting enough. All right. So to start with, why should Nigerian businesses care about solar energy, and by extension solar PV technology adoption? Isn't it all about climate change? Perhaps this is one myth to start with. Speaking of the perception of many people that solar energy as a renewable energy resources or resource is only beneficial to mitigating climate change. Well, there are other significant benefits, of turning to solar, apart from climate, crisis-driven solution, which is equally, crucial, very important, is forming the global, discourse. The United Nations and every country, that this is where we're all being driven at, and then it's usually at the signature of thought in terms of energy transition. But today we'll focus on some other benefits which span the economic opportunity for energy independence, health, and then flexibility of deployment. Then on the economic sphere, especially in the face of unstable gravity-defying petroleum prices, like I mentioned, this has been very challenging for many businesses to break even in Nigeria, and that is the truth. We can't hide, we can't shy away from that truth. On the other hand, cost of solar PV, has been nosediving, and still expects, to make the most economic sense, with further drop in price per kilowatt across the globe. So in addition, the recent, signed electricity bill in Nigeria will provide many industrial users, especially the large ones, the opportunity to become prosumers of electricity. And prosumer is a term used for those that generate their energy, use it, consume it, and also act as a producer to supply energy to neighboring needs. So it gives that opportunity to be a prosumer. The other thing is the energy independence. Going solar provide businesses the opportunity to defect the grid and be unscratched by the challenges from power interruption in Nigeria. As we speak, you could have power interruption wherever you are. Now, Professor Olarunishola already mentioned that it doesn't have a power supply, and is using its solar. So this has become norm, and it's not now. It's been long time ago, which we're having this experience, and the private sector, the businesses have had to turn to diesel generator they are now on standby generator in combination with power from the grid, some solely on diesel generators or any other form of petroleum products, and others are 100% dependent on diesel or petrol, generator. Both grid power and users of a generator are trapped with incessant energy crisis in Nigeria, which has had, crippling effects on business operations and the productivity and profitability. So with solar, businesses will become, more independent and self-sufficient in meeting their energy needs. And what does this independence, speak on? The energy independence speak on the fact that it's going to help them in cost predictability, to be able to predict their cost and strategic planning of their budget, because it's not subjected to the volatile petroleum price and usual increments or increase in that price that makes it difficult for planning for most manufacturers, production, and what have you. For instance, the operation and maintenance cost for systems lifetime is quite more stable compared to petroleum-based generator. So it is important to note that an installed system has a lifetime of 20 to 25 years. And then, we're already seeing products in the market that last, 30 years. And there's still more R&D, going on to increase, solar PV lifespan. So that means that company can actually be able to plan their, energy costs or expenses, for the next 30 years, for the next 25 years, especially the operation and maintenance costs, which is quite different, from what we have with the current regime of technology that is being deployed for power supply. The other aspect is the health impact. And then we know that the use of petrol and diesel fire generator exposes individuals to both air and noise pollution. Short and long-term exposure to air pollution can lead to a wide range of diseases, including stroke, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, trachea, bronchos, and lung cancers, aggravated asthma, and lower respiratory infection. This has been, proven by, different research, and then we've seen it out there. On noise pollution, studies have also shown that there are, direct links between noise and health. Problems related to noise include stress-related illness, high blood pressure, speech interference, hearing loss, sleep disruption, and loss of productivity, which is also very crucial. So some of these health issues are, things that we don't really pay much attention to. And as a result, we inadvertently, impact on, the productivity of our workforce. I mean, businesses, we see generators being turned on here and there, and then it just seems as if this is, it's uncontrollable. Houses, companies, the noise is there, the pollution is there, we inhale those poisonous gases, but, we still keep on without paying that cognizance of how this is impacting us as individuals and as a worker, in a particular place of work. So the last one, which I will look at briefly, is the deployment flexibility. This is so important as a benefit because you don't want to have capital expenditure, you don't want to have money trapped. So rather than, and we know that businesses, if we're going to take Nigeria out, which is sadly, we know in all other countries, in all other spheres, businesses, experience growth and expansion. And then because of that, you want to increase, energy capacity, meet your demand, growing demand. And then rather than, having to buy, a system that, will serve you for the next 20 years when you have that growth, renewables give you that flexibility, to scale up or to ramp up, as your needs grow. So a solar PV system can be, sized optimally to make the most investment sense for immediate and future business requirements. Okay, so we'll go straight and quickly to the myths that we shall be discussing today, which surround, some of the public perception on solar PV deployment for large-scale energy need. These 4 myths are based on feasibility, especially on solar resources, as I've mentioned, economic viability of this system, the system capability to be able to serve, large industries, and then the last one is the applicability. Okay, so quickly on the feasibility. Now, the feasibility has to do with resource. Can this sun that is shining, can it, give us all that we want, beyond the residential? This global solar map here offers some data on the average, daily and annual solar power potentials. If we pay close attention to the European region, in the upper parts, right around, this area, you will observe that the average annual potential in this area is about 35% less than, the potential in Nigeria when you compare these. And then when you take it, to the Midwest and northeastern part of the United States, you also see, almost similar, difference in the potential that we have, seeing that we have higher potential for solar in this country. These are areas with relatively high, snow precipitation. If you speak of Michigan, interestingly, I have one of my, former colleagues at Michigan Tech University, joining this lecture, and she can tell you how much snow you have in a year. We have about over 300 inches of snow every year, and still you have okay, this is just so this picture is just one of the pictures that was taken during one of the snowfalls, and this is just one of the lists, and you can see the snowbank as high as whatever, and then you have the snow cover, magnitude of snowfall and cloud cover, and which impacts installation. However, solar PV has been found to be technically feasible and currently being deployed by large corporations in those countries. You speak about the Scandinavians, the Norway, the Sweden, and all of these places that you have weather-related or climate or related issues. So all of these places you've seen solar being adopted at high scale. So as we go along in this lecture, I'll be presenting some examples that where we have this high deployment at industrial and commercial scales in those areas. So, well, let's just quickly move on to the next one, which is the economic viability. So on this aspect, I would like to reference the empirical, one of my empirical research, which focus on economic viability of solar PV coupled with diesel generator, as well as battery energy storage for captive, power generation. This research involved collection of data from various companies in Nigeria across small, large, and medium scale, and then modeling of various hybrid energy system for those based on the data that were provided. And but first, this research was conducted about 5 years ago, at a time when diesel price was 0.7 dollars or 7 cents per liter. All right, in the dollar equivalent. But using trends in fuel prices from previous years, a prognosis was made on what diesel price will be in the future. And as you can see, you will see that the forecasted price has been reached already, with the current, pump price of diesel being around 1.2 dollars, per liter, which is around 845, naira today. So when you look at that trend, that prognosis, that have been, spoken of in the last 5 years, we can see everything happening today. And then what tells us about what we're going to be seeing in the next 5-10 years? Mind you, this trend is expected to continue, especially as we continue to depend highly on diesel or petroleum products for power generation. But, conversely, price, per watt of solar PV in the last 10 years has been, nosediving, falling from an average of, 6 watts, $6 per watt in 2010 to around $1.5 per watt. And the price is still falling greatly. As a matter of fact, we're seeing utility scale price of solar panel to be hovering around 500 per kilowatt. So we're seeing drop in the price of solar PV, and it's a signal that we should be thinking of what is to come. Okay, now on this economic viability, so the result of this research is this is just a snapshot of part of the result. If you have time, you can go through that published paper. So to measure the economic viability of solar, we use levelized cost of energy, which is also called LCOE, to compare 2 or more systems with different energy combinations. LCOE simply accounts for all the cost and revenue received from a system over its lifetime. So as you can see, the model covers various subsectors of the private businesses in Nigeria, including real estate, education, like schools, so many schools that participated in this research, banks, automobile, hotels, which is categorized under the hospitality industry, and production facilities. So the result here shows, different LCOE for business as usual scenario, where those organizations continue with their current power generation from diesel only, and in some cases with little power supply from the grid. And then the hybrid system of solar PV and diesel, and then the hybrid system coupled with battery energy system. Okay. So in this table, you see the LCOE and other econometric results when comparing the BAU with the hybrid scenarios. The highlights, above, as you can see, shows per kilowatt hour savings for each of the subsector. When you multiply, at the first glance, you will see these are cents. These are very, very small, difference, in terms of savings. But when you multiply this by the annual energy consumption of this facility, you'll be able to see huge achievable annual savings, from the use of, or from just adding solar PV to their current system, keeping their current diesel generator to operate, at night or at when you have cloud cover, and then, alongside with the solar. This result is not showing what it is when you bring on battery, which is crazily, let me use the word, crazily, huge in terms of savings. Interestingly, the higher the energy intensity, the more the annual savings. For instance, when you look at the estate and hotel, which have 31 gigawatt hour of consumption, and then the other one, 8.7 megawatt hour, respectively, they have $3.4 million and $350,000 savings, respectively. So if companies would have this savings, annually in their energy expenses, you can imagine what they will be able to do in either scaling up their businesses, improving, and the general well-being of their staff, and even the economic in general. So this shows the economic viability of solar for private industry, private sector, aside, the residential. Okay, now we go to the capability. All right, now the capability still comes like, can this really happen? Or where is this happening? All right. So I would like to showcase some examples of where solar PV has been deployed. There are numerous, a lot, but for the sake of our time, I'm just going to pick these three, and we can also do our research and see where some of these, has been deployed. So we've had that myth that solar cannot power, a factory or large corporation with high energy demand at large scale for industry and commercial purpose. This question have been coming on. But the first picture at the, up there in the left-hand corner is the facility of Intel Corp in Chandler, Arizona, and in the US. This is a facility that I have been I've visited personally. I've seen the solar adoption to power the facility. This facility has solar capacity of 7.7 megawatts in direct sunlight, capable of powering about 2,000 homes. The second picture, in the top right is, the ABB production site in Ludenshield, Germany. Sorry, I'm using only Germany and American example, but there are tons of examples out there, and we just have to limit this because of our time. So the ABB site has been adjudged, ABB's group's first, CO2 neutral with, solar capable of meeting 100% of the facility's power requirements, on a sunny day. So on a sunny day, this facility has the capability of meeting 100% of its energy or power requirements from the solar that they have. The ABB site, boasts of, this PV that delivers around 1,100 megawatt hour of climate neutral solar power a year. So, but the third picture at the bottom, does not really belong to the category of a manufacturing or production. It is a commercial store, which some of us will know very well, Walmart Superstore. And then, making reference to Walmart Superstore in New York State, and another one in Sacramento, California, with 50 megawatt and 6.5 megawatt capacity, respectively. All right. So these are these are very huge stores with high energy, demand to power their refrigeration, their, everything that, you can think of. And right now, some of this, the Walmart Superstore or Supercenter is where you have installation of what do you call it EV chargers. DC, not just level 1 or level 2 or any other level, but DC fast charger that is capable of charging a car in less than 25 minutes, from 0% to 80%. So this is high energy demand, and you can only have it in this kind of superstore. All right, and then you have, I'm just bringing this as an example of a commercial aspects of the sector. So those that knows this Walmart will agree with me that this is an energy intensive grocery store in Northern America. So and then on the capability, which is the last part that I'm going to touch on, because I can't speak on capability in manufacturing or commercial businesses, banks, and all of that without speaking on campuses. So this is here is an example of the capability and deployment of solar to power university campuses. So an example here is that this place is Arizona State University in Phoenix, Arizona. I've also been here personally. By the way, I played soccer with some of my friends at the field near the Intel facility in Arizona. So I must confess that this is huge, and it shows the potential of solar PV for our university campuses to harness solar power to ensure smooth academic activities, which are usually marred by power interruption. At least I experienced a couple during my undergraduate days at the University of Ibadan. I don't want to go into some of the huge slogans that we usually have when you have those, intense power interruption. But one of it is Ewamiti Jono. As many that can remember, at Indy or Zig, you will know that this is a serious issue when students are in the midst of preparing for exams. So, but I'm so glad, and it's interesting to know that our department is showing an example in campus adoption with the solar installation that the department have, which is serving part of our offices. This is highly impressive, and I would like to use this moment or this opportunity to advocate for a scale up across the whole Faculty of Technology, and by extension the whole of UI campus. We can do it, and it's just a matter of we have the best ed. We have a lot of people with experience right there, and we can all put all our arsenal together to make this work. Okay, the next one is applicability, which I will be wrapping up with. We'll quickly look at different ways that solar PV has been, applied to demystify the myths relating to space constraints. Okay, when we hear of solar, we talk about space. We talk about, oh, yeah, we don't have that enough space, but that is never a constraint, as there have been various applicability and deployment of this technology. So beyond the popular rooftops that we've seen, we've seen some other ground-mounted solar for solar farm, and we've seen car park roof, installation. We've seen solar photovoltaic. That's a photovoltaic. That is floating photovoltaic. So this particular picture, one of those pictures I took them, especially the photovoltaic, I took it personally. This is somewhere in Germany, I think in Munich. And then we have agrovoltaic. For those in the agricultural sector that have businesses, that there is also where you can couple your agricultural practices and operation with photovoltaic. And one of the importance of this is that it reduces what you call the need for water. Okay, because you want to prevent your plants, you want to prevent your all of your what's it called now, plantation, from being sucked quickly by the scorching sunlight. So applicability with agrovoltaic is a very important one. And then lastly, we have seen wall-mounted solar panels, where space is really a big issue. Now you can see some are deploying it. We've seen other places. I'm not going to go into, I can't bring more of this example. We've seen those that are, mounted across bridges, just to ensure that wherever you can get that space constraint is just by mind. It's just by, I would say, is because we don't want to do it. Whatever we want to do, there is nothing limiting us, from doing it. All right. So, in conclusion, to wrap this up, for those that have had, those misconceptions or myths, it is important to, recap and reiterate on some of the clarifications made so far. That, solar PV is technically feasible, as we've seen, economically viable, huge savings potential, and has the capability to meet power requirements for, large industries and other commercial corporations with high energy demand. And it permits me to end, this lecture with a question, which should not be taken as a rhetorical, but something that, begs for our answers. We have seen examples of this deployment in places or, countries with lesser solar, power potential than Nigeria. The question is, so why can't we? What is stopping us? And I know one of the things that will bring on is a cost, which is not, investment cost or CapEx, which is not discussed here, but is another topic entirely, which comes across social, economic, and cultural landscape of the challenges or the level, because it is not just to have investors invest hugely in Nigerian private businesses. To do this requires a lot than just, pumping money. It is not an issue, but it's an issue. Why it's not an issue is that you have a lot of opportunities, you have a lot of funders or investors out there, but there are still so many political, social, and other issues that prevent investors from saying, oh, we're going to do this. So solar PV is limited in application. Nigerian businesses only need to tap into existing innovations out there to support their business operations in Nigeria in a most affordable and sustainable way. And lastly, we are seeing continuous exit of many international corporations in Nigeria due to high operating costs and low profitability. This is very, 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 very sad to hear that recently British pharmaceutical company, the GSK, recently pulling out, due to extreme energy burden on their operation. That is one of the major problems or reasons for their pulling out of Nigeria. This is very sad. This is job. We are going to be seeing some people out of job in this period of time, and then because of what we cannot do. But I think the private sector, has a critical role of supporting the country's power supply inadequacies by investing in clean, affordable, and sustainable energy like the solar PV. So they are able to direct benefit from such, which are enormous across social, economic, and environmental dimensions. So I am going to wrap it up here, but I want to say a big thank you to the moderators and the department as a whole, and everyone for this sacrifice to sit here and listen to this lecture and being prepared to discuss this. I see this as a brainstorming session for us to think, for critical thinking of way forward. As a practitioner, being involved in microgrid, mini grid, home owner solar system design, modeling, analysis, even at state level, national level, I think there is a lot that we need to bring back for our country, Nigeria, to be able to move out of the current predicament. Thank you very much, and then looking forward to having more discussion with everyone.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Adesoya, for that powerful lecture. Thank you so much. When I was going through his personal website and I was reading through his citation, what we got tonight is, I knew that we'll be having nothing short of excellence. Thank you for the excellent delivery in the short time that we gave to you. Thank you so much for that. Before we go into questions and answers, I know that there are so many questions and answers that we have. Please kindly send them to the chat box, send them to me privately or to everyone so that I can read it out to our guest lecturer. Please permit me to recognize some people that joined while the lecture was going on. I want to recognize the presence of Mr. Sheung Agbola. That is the chairman of E-Rotary. You're welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us. Also, I want to recognize the presence of Professor S.O. Oyedepo from Covenant University. Professor S.O. Oyedepo from Covenant University. I also want to recognize the presence of Brigadier General M.A. Yusuf of the Nigerian Army. Brigadier General M.A. Yusuf, thank you for joining us. Okay, finally here, I want to congratulate the newest graduate of Industrial and Production Engineering in the house. So this is their first lecture as part of the alumni. So you are welcome. You're welcome. All right, so we've listened to the lecture, powerful one. We've listened to the feasibility, the viability, the capability, and the applicability of photovoltaic energy, I mean solar energy. And I'm very sure that we have some questions. Please let us keep the questions coming so that our guest lecturer can attend to them. Please let us send in questions. You know, when the lecturer was talking about the applicability, and he was making reference to the department. So I immediately recalled when I was a student during my BSc and my MSc that we enjoyed a lot. And even so many departments come to our department to, you know, carry out their businesses, to charge their phones, to do other things. And it's really a wonderful experience because we don't know what is going on with them. So whenever they complain that they don't have lights, we have lights in our own department.
Wow.
So, and so while he was also teaching, he mentioned the savings that different sectors have when they embrace the solar energy, you know. So so much of a saving if you take it annually, like you said, if you multiply it by the annual overhead, and you know, even when it is done hybrid, you know, with normal source of energy, it will be 6% has been saved. So I also have the knowledge that they even save up to 20%, 10 to 20% when they go fully solar, you know, in the industries. Thank you so much for the lecture once again. Well, while we wait for other questions to come in, I would like to take the chairman's, the host, please pardon me. Yes, the goodwill message from, okay, a remark by the chairman, rather, the chairman's remark, that is in person of engineer Dr. A.C. Olaoye. Are you still there, sir? Engineer Olaoye? Yes, he's here. Sir, your remark.
Well, thank you so very much. That was quite very enlightening, very informative, a lot of instructions, a lot of knowledge gained. Thank you so much, Dr. Adesanya, for the experience and for sharing with us your experience. We cannot but say it that there's the need now for that paradigm shift into renewable energy sources, much as we know that, like you said, in this part of the world where the cost of energy is increasing every day, I know that the current price of the energy from the national grid has been increased. The price of the petroleum products to power energy sources has also increased. And the economic situation is really biting hard on all and sundry. Well, we cannot but look into this area of renewable energy. But my challenge also is the fact that the initial capital outlay is high. Fine, in the long run, on the medium term, it gets better, it gets more economical, like the speaker also pointed out, that it is not subject to power to increase in petroleum
operation and maintenance.
Yeah, but we still have sometimes, though it may be minimal, we still have operation and maintenance costs.
Sure.
You still have to change your batteries. You still have to one or two things to do like that. Even the inverter system, we also have some electrical challenges. So you know, but nevertheless, on the long run, it's quite very economical. But no, one major thing I want us to to also look into is how we can make it kind of affordable for all and sundry. I know there are a lot of small panel arrangements now that can power few bulbs, but like he spoke about industries, I was surprised that industries could generate thousands of megawatts by solar. And why is it difficult for us in Nigeria to tap into such? He spoke about Sokoto, or of course, where you can have as much as 10 hours, 11 hours of sunshine, where government can tap in, can institute these things and send the power into the national grid somehow, or whatever. But nonetheless, I feel strongly that as the speaker has rightly said, we need to look into this. A lot of industries have run down, have closed down because of the shortage of power, access to power, the cost of power. And this has thrown a lot of people into the labor market. This has not helped us as a nation, as a people, to develop. And we know the importance that the accessibility to power, to clean energy plays in the roles that it plays, important roles that it plays in our lives. Well, by and large, I still feel that we need to look at this as individuals and as a nation. Our government also needs to pay more attention to this and not the lip service attention that has been the practice over the periods of time. Well, I want to say that I've learned a lot. I will leave others to ask their questions, but my own aspect is how to just make it affordable so that people can get back to business, industries can rise up again. I know that with accessibility to qualitative and quantitative power, energy rather, there will be a lot of innovations. There will be a lot of development for cottage industries, even multi-functional, multi-dimensional industries, which will provide meaningful employment engagement for the citizens. The nation keeps saying, the different government keeps saying they will generate employment. And I wonder, how will they generate employment when there's no power? How easy will it be? Just put the power, make the power available. Investors will come. Investors will be attracted to come into our nation, to come to help support in developing our economy, and things will get better. So this is one area I just want to encourage the government. We'll continue to make our voices heard in this regard. In fact, the forthcoming engineering week of the Nigerian Center of Engineers Ibadan branch, we will also be looking at adequate qualitative and quantitative power generation, the transmission and distribution in Nigeria, the way forward. So that at least what we think we have, we'll look at it, and let's also look at the option of the renewable energy, so that things can be better for all of us. So once again, I want to congratulate our speaker for today, and even the organizers of this program. It's been a highly successful program, and I want to encourage you to please keep it up and always invite us. We'll always enjoy to be part of the lecture series. So without much ado, I want to hand over back to the moderator so that we can have some more interactive sections in there as we round up. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Dr. Olaoye, our chairman. Thank you so much. Okay, while the chairman was giving his remark, we had some questions in the chat box. I will just read some of it out. And if, in case you have a question that you really cannot type, you can raise your hand so that will be taken. But while we do that, Dr. Adesoya, I will read some questions now. Okay, in the chat box here. Okay. We have a question like, thank you for the lecture. I think the bottom line is the initial cost. So this person saying, can we hear on this? What about solar thermal sources? What are the opportunities and drawbacks? So this person is asking about the initial costs of setting up a solar panel. And the person is asking, what about solar thermal sources? What are the opportunities and drawbacks? Should I read all the questions or you want to answer it? Kindly unmute, sir. Okay. I think last for a sec.
Sorry, I think if I may come in, I think you may just read out all the questions for him to note so that he can answer them all together, because there is there's a likelihood of some of the questions also being similar, so that he can just take his time once and for all together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that, sir. Dr. Adesanya, are you back, sir? So I'll be reading.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm so sorry. I'm having some connectivity issues right here. So I think the last one you read that I heard was the one from Professor Ayache, if I'm correct, about the cost, which is like the bottom line.
Yes.
Of course, it's cost of energy is a bottom line. That is why we are here. All right. Just like what we usually say for education, where we say if education is expensive, try ignorance, just like, the elders will say. And the cost of having a solar PV, in my opinion, is, this cost issue, we have cost assignable. Cost can be assigned. The cost which we assigned towards the use of continuous generator, increasing generator capacity. Many companies nowadays that have their diesel generator that are due for retirement and still going back to invest on that, which is huge as well. And then all along is going to,
So testing for I think it's network technical issues. Okay, while we wait for him to reconnect, I would like to recognize the presence of Professor Luleye, and I'd like to ask if you would like to give some comments, some remarks concerning the lecture. Sir, Professor Luleye. Okay. I think Professor Summers. Okay, Professor. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. It's a pleasure to be here and to listen to Adewale. Well, good to see he's gone around the world and done marvelously well. Wish him well. And what he has treated today is topical. And in fact, it's the crux of the matter that beyond residential, is it possible that we begin to go to the small scale and medium industries? And I think this is something we need to take further. But I think government can assist with getting over the capex. After all, it will be a positive subsidy if we can take as many people off the grid as possible. So there should be encouragement for people to get over the capex issue, which appears to be debilitating in our environment. So IPA, I say kudos to you, to the lecturer, the guest lecturers, the guests of honor, and of course our chairman. We thank you very much. And of course, again, the listeners. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you. Thank you so much. Also, I want to quickly take comments from Rotarian Shewagbola. If it's still with us, Rotarian Shewagbola, do you have any comments to give concerning the lecture, sir?
Okay. Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Oh, okay. Good evening. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are, sir.
Apologies, I cannot turn on my camera. It's still the same matter we are discussing about energy. During the course of the lecture, the lights went off. We have a medium solar that we are using now, but it's not strong enough to carry the visual. Thank you so much for having me here at tonight's meeting. I'm a finance person, but recently as a Rotarian, I got appointment as the district chair of support for environment. So during the course of my research, I came across my brother, Dr. Adesanya, and invited me to come and be a part, to come and join this meeting tonight to listen to what it is. I have my own take already. From before the commencement of the lecture, when Professor Olorunsola was talking, he mentioned awareness. So I am standing here on the side of awareness to ensure that we have more people that gets to know about this environment, alternative energy, its impact in our life and even in our businesses. I have learned a lot tonight. I may not be able to comment on the side of this professionalism, but from the subsequent lectures, I will try to get more members of Rotary to participate in listening to this. I believe that when we have more people that gets to know, that the information travel faster. So I'll be extending my hand of partnership with the department to have us be a participant during the subsequent lecture that will be coming up. So thank you so much for this good job you are doing. Thank you. I yield the mic.
Thank you so much, sir, for that. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Okay, before we go back to Dr. Adesanya, I just want to heed the advice of the chairman. So he said we should read all the questions so that you note them and then take them together. So this will address the issue of duplicity if we have duplicate questions or what someone already asked. I hope that is okay, sir, Dr. Adesanya. Are you there, sir? I think he's having some issues with his network. Are you there, sir, Dr. Adesanya? Okay. Okay, let's just open the beat. Let me try to get okay, so I think he's trying to reconnect. Please, let's be patient. Oh, it's off again. Since being patient. Okay, he's back. Dr. Lisa, are you back now? Kindly
Yes, I
unmute.
am. Yes, I am.
Okay.
And I am so sorry for this off and on. My connection right here is not just working really good. I don't know if it's MTN. I recently visiting Nigeria. I got in yesterday, and then I've not really tried this network to know how strong it is with other meetings. But yeah, the question that I heard last that I was talking about is the cost. And then I just wanted to wrap up on that, is that that cost is really not an issue for businesses that invest in so many things. If cost is an issue to make them to pull out, then cost shouldn't also be, cost of production, cost of investment. For instance, their equity, they can have the equity assign the cost, for using fossil fuel generators and all of that, retiring and bringing on new generators, to invest that in solar PV. They can even gradually start to ramp up. They can start by a session, maybe part of the facility is being powered, and then continue to scale up. We've talked about flexibility, and we've talked about how good it is for us to scale up, or with solar. So they can start with maybe whatever they have in maybe year one. It's all about strategic planning for businesses. Year one, year two, we want to bring on 2 megawatts of solar to add to our system, for a facility that uses, let's say, 10 megawatts. This year or 5 years, we want to add 2 more. And then with that, they keep ramping up. It's all about planning and assigning those costs to the cost of the initial operation. And then when you look at it overall, when you talk about cost, maybe it's not the right word is not the cost, maybe investment, because speaking from what we have seen here, to keep on the BAU is more expensive, is more costly. All right, it is more costly, and there is huge savings with solar PV. The other thing is now investment, capital expenditure, capital investment, and that has to do with some things I mentioned. There are a lot of political, legal issues that, and partnership that we need to have, or organization or companies need to have, either with government or with international funders, which can also help in alleviating the issue of capital investment. So I know that some of our professors here would also have other things to contribute in terms of that cost, or maybe that's have already been discussed. But I think the investment is one big issue that we should talk about, which is a lot of politics that has to do with a lot of legal issues that we need to resolve before. What is our outlook, there, outside? Can a company, or can an investor, a foreign investor, can it look like at us as a manufacturing company that I am going to invest in this? We're going to have a partnership to build this solar for you, or you probably be a PPA. What was it called now? You call it purchasing power agreement, and then the company is able to purchase, the other company is investing, into that generator, which is solar generator, and the other one is paying back. There are other flexible way to do it with organization. Is just, first of all, let's deal with the myth. All right, let's deal with the myth that this cannot. I mean, that is what I have been approached with many thought leaders, organization leaders, and colleagues, in the engineering world that we've spoken with, and then most of the
Okay, I think we lost him again because of the network. Okay, while he's trying to fix that before he comes back, I don't know if there are any comments, comments from the house. Kindly please raise your hands to give the comments while I try to connect. Professor Olorunishola sir, do you have any comments regarding the lecture, sir?
Just a minute. Well, first of all, I would like to thank the guest speaker for that excellent presentation. He's covered a lot of ground about the myths surrounding the use of solar energy for electricity generation, especially at industrial level. He addressed one of the issues that I raised during my introductory remarks, that people always complain that solar installations take a lot of space, but you can see the ingenuity that people now deploy in the placement of solar panels. Now we now see panels being used as claddings in houses. That especially was very interesting to me. You don't even have to just stay on the roof. You can use it as a wall cladding. And so you are covering your wall at the same time generating electricity. So it's all about innovation. And it shows that where there's a will, there's a way. I just recollect as he was speaking that even when I was the dean of the postgraduate school, we were powering virtually all our operations with solar panels as a backup for NEPA, especially when it was time for admission processes and there was zero tolerance for delay in processing things. We make sure that our admissions office was fully powered by solar panels. We also made sure that exams and records, and eventually we did it piecemeal, but eventually we covered the entire postgraduate college. Well, it was postgraduate school then, now postgraduate college. We made sure that if there was no electricity on campus at all, we could still operate for days. When I was also head of department, we had inverter systems. So we're able to type, we're able to print and do other things, even when there was no power supply from the grid. So indeed, solar installations can replace or substitute for the national grid. We are aware that there are places in Africa now that people even elect to go off the grid, especially in isolated places, or people just want to decarbonize the economy. They choose to be even off the national grid. So everything they do, they're based on the solar installation, especially for electricity generation. I think what we still need more in Nigeria is awareness, and then the demystifying of the issues that people still think surround the installation of solar panels. We have a Center for Energy Research not far from here, and not far from us here at Obafemi Awolowo University. I'm not sure maybe people even are aware of what they are doing. I've mentioned the research centers in Unsuka and the one in Sokoto, where we say those ones are far, but the ones that are close to us here, I'm not aware of what they exactly are doing. And so maybe it's something that Faculty of Technology, just not the Department of Industrial Engineering, can also take up some kind of advocacy. Or let our charity begin from home. Can we power our faculty with solar panels? I know Industrial Production Engineering has their installation, Agriculture Engineering has, Wood Products Engineering, but as a faculty, can we make it a matter of deliberate policy that will not just invest in generators, but also demonstrate to the world what is possible and what we expect the outside world to do. So hopefully the university as a whole will take it up. Also, I just recall now that when Professor Bamiro was the Vice Chancellor, the central administration had a solar power installation. But the moment he left office, that also disappeared. And I've been a bit disappointed quite a few times that I visited the Vice Chancellor's office and there was no electricity supply on campus and the whole place was dark. I don't think that is acceptable for a university as big as we are, and that has a faculty of technology. And we have a Center for Petroleum and Energy Research and CPEP, Center for Petroleum Energy and Law. I think we should begin to demonstrate to the whole world what we think is the way forward. So I think my own takeaway from this lecture is to begin to do the demonstration. Let's go beyond the talking and let's walk the talk. Let's show that it is possible. Professor Fakuluja, before he left office, has installed some solar lamps across the faculty. So let's go beyond solar lamps. Let all departments, sign on to this and let the faculty. I don't know whether the dean was invited to this occasion. If he was not, I think next time, the dean of the faculty should also be invited to functions like this, so you can listen to the talks about such matters and then develop policies for the faculty, so that we, there was a joke about 2 years ago that we call ourselves Faculty of Technology, but it's always dark at night until the dean sorted that out by providing solar lamps. So let's show the light to the entire university. Thank you. So once again, I thank the speaker and I thank Professor Olule, sir, for those comments. Thank you for your support every time. It's a pleasure seeing you again today. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you for the remark. Welcome back, Dr. Adesonya. Just so that we can beat time, I think we cannot take all the questions. So what I'm just going to do is probably read one or two more, and maybe you take note of the questions I'm reading, and then you answer them together. Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, so here, this person is asking that what's the applicability for municipal use? Is solar energy cheaper than gas? And is it completely green as production and end of life use is also important? All right, that's a question for someone. The next one says, the energy demand for most industries are usually high. This means to generate the level needed, more solar PVs would need to be procured and installed. How sustainable is this in terms of the cost of production? I think I should read one more. Okay, excuse me. Okay, so thanks for the wonderful lecture. I currently work as a facility manager in a commercial building here in Lekki, Lagos. I noticed a bad trend on installation here in Lekki. Landlords are spending heavily on roof repairs due to leakages after installations on rooftops by most PV panel installers. It seems there's a need to step in to checkmate all PV installers to ensure good job is done at every installation point. Those regards. Okay, so I think that is how far we can get to the questions. So, sir, can you please help us with it?
Yeah, so quickly, I know our time is fast spent, and I'm also, very sorry for the technical glitches with the network. All right. On the municipal use, I've done some research and work on 100% renewable electricity in some municipalities, even communities across the globe, done some projects in Scotland on 100% renewable electricity with solar, wind, and hydro, and all other stuff. But we've seen, different, municipalities that have, adopted even 100% renewable electricity. We have Burlington in Vermont. We have, Rockport in Missouri. We have Georgetown in Texas. We have a lot of municipalities that have already, adopted 100% renewable generation, which has a mix of wind, solar, some solar only, some wind and solar coupled with, other things. So in terms of large municipal use, solar is viable and is feasible. In fact, I must say that solar does not have end to feasibility. As I speak, in New York State, where I am supporting the state government currently has a goal. It's a law, an act where 100% renewable electricity is the target for 2040. Now, 2040, the state is targeting 100% renewable. All its energy, all its electricity would be from renewable only, including solar and wind. And we are talking about almost 40, 30 gigawatts, size that is bigger than even what the whole Nigeria is generating currently. So in terms of feasibility, in terms of applicability, it is enormous. There are examples outside the US and there are examples in the US, which we cannot talk about right now. Okay. Then the other question, let me see. So the other question touched on training. Now, we know that Nigeria, we can only take baby steps. In all other countries where we've seen they've experienced failure, we can leapfrog some of the processes and start by even training, looking ahead, start training. I'm glad that the country, at residential level, we're trying, to plug into solar PV, and then people are experiencing one issue or the other with installation. And I think I would give a good applause to our resilience on that. So I just think that we can all, there is no limitation. There are definitely some challenges along political will, along policy that will facilitate private sector to start looking at it. For instance, you can have a lot of tax credits, tax rebates like you have in the United States right now. The United States passed the IRA infrastructure Inflation Reduction Act, which allows organizations to install renewable energy, and then get tax credit, get rebate. I've seen questions on waste, what's it called now? Solar thermal. We have geothermal, we have heat pump. All of these can lesser demand, for solar. There's a lot to talk about here, but because of our time, I will only say that we just need the willpower. We need to keep on. We're taking baby steps. We're seeing some failures at some point. That doesn't mean that is a big issue. It is just, by the way, for us to know, okay, this is where we need more training. This is where we need to channel more resources to be able to overcome the expertise that we have locally. All right, these are local experts, and then some of them are getting this training offline or with privilege. They are getting it directly, and then we'll go through this. So yeah, I just want to thank the department and everyone for attending this lecture, and I want to say God bless Industrial Engineering Department, God bless IPEAA, and God bless Faculty of Tech, and God bless UI and Nigeria in general. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the remarks, also for putting it together because of the time constraints. Thank you so much. For those that still have questions to ask, I think the guest lecturer dropped a link, or maybe he's going to do that so that we can ask more questions in personal terms. Is that okay, Dr. Adesanya? That's okay, sir?
Yes, we can ask questions. I can get direct question to my email address, and then of course I would love that. These are some of the things we also need to keep in our WhatsApp channel discussion, to move this forward. We can all talk about this and keep pushing this further. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure that everyone who were present in tonight's lecture, they share the same thoughts. Right now, I want to take the vote of thanks, which will be given by Dr. Kolawole. Dr. Kolawole, sir, the vote of thanks. put up thanks because of our time.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. We want to thank you for we want to thank God and every one of us for giving us another opportunity to have this lecture today. It's been a pleasure every time we have one together like this. We will be having a very stimulating time. And tonight has not been an exception. We thank the guest lecturer. From what we have seen, you can see that he's not talking theoretically. He has given us empirical data, empirical information that shows that what he's discussing, they are real and they are things that can be practicalized, that we can also emulate here in Nigeria, so that our industry, manufacturing, small scale and large one, can get better. And even in our own houses, as some people have been doing. Thank you for this. I want to thank all our people, as well as our guest lecturer. I want to thank Professor Alumni for coming around again. As he has said, he's a member of our department, directly or indirectly. I remember he actually wanted to do master's in relations, go directly to where he is, and there is no regret, but he has taken a lot of courses in our department to make up, and that believe that have been a benefit to him. And as he said too, his children are in our department and they are doing very wonderfully well. And his first son made the first class. He graduated about 2 years ago and he's doing well. The second is in final year now, and we are seeing a promising thing in heart too. So thank you, sir, for making it a day to be with us and for always being our friend every time that we need you. Thank you, sir. I want to thank Professor Jegede too, a renowned sociologist and the current director of the research management of the University of Ibadan. He's also a friend of the department in one way or the other at one level. We have been meeting. He's in charge of a program where I'm directly working under him. He's a very selfless individual. I want to say a big thank you, sir. I want to thank all our alumni, our senior ones, our Professor Olule, our other departments, and all the professors in the department, Professor Anyiche, all the lecturers who have attended this lecture. I want to say thank you. I want to thank our elders in the alumni. I can see Engineer Wekola Dipo, one of the first set of the departments there. Many other people are here available for us. I want to say a big thank you. And by God's grace, we keep this lecture going as it has been going. Again, I want to thank Adesoya. I'm glad to see him delivering this lecture today, confidently, boldly, and authoritatively. Right from the time he was here as a student, he has already been involved in one thing or the other. And I can see that he has grown to be a big man, quote and unquote there, doing work and doing a very thorough research. Your lecture has been very eye-opening and very understandable, and also an encouragement. And they also provided some sort of grant for us to do research in the department. I know some of us will see one thing or the other we can do to make what we have delivered today a continuous one, not just going to end up here. Apart from those that will practicalize, research opportunity is also there. So I want to thank you for making it a date. I thank every student. Some of our recent graduates who just finished about 2 weeks ago. I see Ore Olua, who is the president of the AESA, just the outgoing one. And the incoming president is also there. I can also see the general secretary, Tomi Olonishola. All of you, we thank you, thank the student and everybody. And we, by God's grace, this lecture will continue to get better and better. The next lecture will come up in September. The moderator will make more announcement on that. I want to say we shall keep on the flag flying, and we shall continue to get better. So I'm doing this on behalf of Professor Oladokun, the head of department, who, because of his engagement somehow tonight and tomorrow, is just going in and out, so he will not be stable. That's why I say I should give this vote of thanks on his behalf. So I want to say thank you for everybody for making your time. And I thank, Engineer Dr. Lawi, the chairman of NSC Oluyole branch. I want to say thank you for making it today and keeping your time to be with us. God bless you, and God bless every one of us. Thank you, and thank you, and thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Dr. Kolawole, for that. Okay, so we're closing. We already overspent time. So, but I'd like to announce to us that the next alumni lecture will be holding by September. It's be taking place September 8th. And the title will be Upskilling for an International Future. Upskilling for an International Future. And that the lecturer will be Engineer Dare Linus, Ni Sokabi, Engineer Dare Linus. So it's going to be a wonderful time. Please endeavor to be around for the lecture and invite someone also. I want to thank everyone for staying till this time. This is 2 hours and counting. Thank you so much and I'm very sure that we got substance. Thank you to our lecturer. Thank you so much. So for those that still have questions, you can reach to him personally. He already dropped his details. Thank you so much. Please have a splendid night,
for having
everyone.
me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Professor Olorunishola. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr.
Good night.
Moderator. God bless you. Good night.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Good night,
great
sir.
job moderating. Thank you.
Thank you
so
too,
much,
Mr. Speaker. You did very well. We are proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well
God
done.
bless you. Thank you. Well done.
Thank you.